Patrick Vieira, Patty V, rumored to be going to the U.S. men's national team as the new manager for the upcoming cycle. Diego and I are here to talk about it. But first, before I begin, let us know your opinion in the comments down below because, of course, we read every single comment we get. We want to hear what you guys are saying. So let's get right into it, Diego. Patty V to America. Tell me why you think it's a bad or good decision because I truthfully I don't know. I don't know your thoughts on this at all.
I think I was best put when I was reading something on social media that like people are disappointed about. Obviously, he doesn't have the greatest track record.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, it's not like I know we like to think the U.S. position is a really promising position, and it is. But
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, it's not like a great position. Like if you're a top manager, you don't want to come to the U.S. national
You
team.
don't think so?
No, the U.S. like the U.S. Sure, you get a little bit of publicity, you get a little bit of the spotlight, but there's so much pressure for such a um, iffy situation. The organization is known to be like really not great, um, and like it's not attracting the top managers. And why is that surprising? It's not. I feel like the U.S. needs to do a lot to prove itself that it can hold its own and that it can offer a lot to top managers. And we were never going to get a Jurgen Klopp or anybody else who's not there like a Tuchel. It wasn't going to happen. And and I know this is my opinion, but I just feel like the U.S. position right now isn't that. Obviously we can look at the player pool and be like, oh, look at it's very talented, and for the U.S. it is, but I just don't see it as something that's going to entice a top manager.
Hmm.
Um, and and then when going back to Petty V, I feel like yeah, his record isn't great. Personally, I still think there are other better positions we could go for. Or
Yeah.
sorry, better manager we could go for.
Options.
But
Yeah.
is he the worst? I don't think he's the worst. It's just kind of like disappointing. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, all
Yeah.
right,
I mean, disappointing would be the word I'd use. I don't know. I feel like Petty V is such a cop out for the USSF because the reports recently have been saying, they want a manager with international pedigree or at least European pedigree, European experience and whatnot. And like, great, that's totally perfect because we cannot move forward with an MLS manager. No way in hell we're moving forward with an MLS manager, at least, or American based manager, at least for right now. But Patty V, in my opinion, is such a cop out. And because you can kind of say he has European experience, and of course he has experience as a player, he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League of all time. But you can't say that he is the answer to American struggles and what America should be looking for in the next manager. I mean, he again is not the best manager. Let's see, when he left Crystal Palace, I think they were on like a 12-game winless streak. And look at them now. I mean, Crystal Palace definitely have a
yeah,
chance to be a top 8 team in this next Premier League season. Patty V goes and leaves because of that. And he was at Strasbourg up until a few days ago. He's currently unemployed, and he was at Strasbourg up until a few days ago. And they obviously Strasbourg are in an interesting dilemma because they are pretty much a Chelsea feeder club now. So, you can judge it based off that, but he hasn't been the best manager for them either. And when he was at Nice, he was decent. He was decent. I don't think it necessarily warranted a Crystal Palace move at the time, but he was
right.
still fairly decent. I think he got like sixth or so with Nice, and that was pretty high for them. But yeah, I don't know. Patty V again, cop out. I don't think he is the exact kind of manager we want. But to give some points to him, there is one thing he's good at, and that is man management. Man management, and he has a good attitude about him in the way that you're not going to get away with shit in the same way that you did under Greg Berhalter, which I do think is a really really good thing. I do think if there's a manager to come in and do that, I mean, USA needs a manager to come in and do that. I just don't know if Patty V is the guy by any means. I do
Mm.
think you have way better options out there. I mean, there are some names being thrown out there that more or less could be interested. Pochettino is a name that I know is a candidate for the USA, and I do think if he doesn't go to England, then he might want to come to the USA. Gareth Southgate, of course, is a name that was being thrown around, but I think what's the point if you get rid of Greg Berhalter and you bring in his mentor? It's the same person, just one's bald. It's the same person, but one's bald. So there's no point in
Yeah,
bringing him in either. Um, I don't know. Who else, Diggle, could you feasibly see coming in instead of Patty V that might be an
feasibly is
upgrade on
different.
him?
Like would we like? Would I like a Pochettino or something? Sure. Do I think it's
Right.
going to happen? No, I don't think so. I could see maybe. Obviously, I think we talked about it in the last video or one of the last videos we did where we talked about Wilfred Nancy and the exciting stuff he's doing at Columbus Crew.
Yeah.
Again, it's not super exciting, but it's a realistic one.
Right.
I know you talked about your favorite would be the guy from the Saudi Arabian um,
Revenant. Yeah.
Hervé Renard, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that one's interesting. So I would say those are immediately more appealing than Patrick Vieira. I even saw, I think I saw something about Thierry Henry, which would be even worse in my
I was
opinion.
gonna bring Terry Henry up,
Um,
bro. Oh,
yeah,
no.
I
No. Can I say
mm,
you
mm,
cannot have obviously Thierry Henry has more pedigree than just MLS. He has coached at other teams, and currently he is coaching the youth France team at the Olympics, and it remains to be seen how he does there because I am very interested in seeing how he does there. But I don't think you could bring in any manager that has an MLS background, and that includes Patrick Vieira because he did coach I think NYCFC, right? I believe he coached NYCFC when he was here,
I think he did. I think he did.
and he did okay with them. He did solid with them, but he didn't do the greatest. Thierry Henry did not do the greatest with Montreal when he was here.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, you can't have an MLS based manager as the next USA manager. Patrick Vieira got worked by Jesse Marsh whenever they played Jesse Marsh's teams here. Worked. We're talking 5-1. I think there's a 7-0 result in there. We're talking 4-1. He was absolutely destroyed. And if you're bringing in a worse manager than Jesse Marsh, we're stagnating as a country here, guys. We're stagnating as a country.
yeah,
You cannot allow
yeah.
Canada to get such a perfect manager. We'll have to do a video on Jesse Marsh in Canada because Jesse Marsh, you could not have picked a better fit for Canada than Jesse Marsh.
Mm.
If USA is picking somebody with less pedigree and less quality as Jesse Marsh, then we've done something wrong overall. Wilfred Nancy, I'm okay with. Okay with. I honestly I prefer him over Patty V. Personally, I prefer him over Patrick Vieira because
Mm.
he's
Yeah.
the one USA based manager where there is some level of professionalism and experience with it where it'll look good, whereas people like Trondolo will have a similar experience, but it wouldn't impact the USA team in the same way, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
They would just use their experience incorrectly. Patrick Vieira is not the answer. Would I don't know. I wouldn't be upset at it per se. I just don't think it's the right way to go. I think it's such a cop out to go from Greg to Patty V. But at the same time, who's worse than Greg? Very few managers in the world. Very few managers in the world are worse than Greg. Hervenard is.
Yeah.
I don't know why Hervenard isn't the name. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I think. I think the like. I see too much. I think I see too much like people going on social media and just and just like any kind of like football rumors that I see online, and it's just like why are we going after this guy? Why are we going after that guy? It doesn't work like that for the U.S. national team. It's not like this isn't some top team and like this isn't Barcelona or Real Madrid. Like, oh, let's go after this manager, let's go after that manager. This is a exciting team, but still a lot to work with. And to think that like people, I don't know, it just kind of gets to me that people are like, oh, like why are we going for Klopp? He's just sitting there. Like, dude, I guarantee you, we've probably asked, and I guarantee you, he's like, nah, like,
Right.
sorry. So when like those names that we're talking about right now, the actual realistic ones, I like those names, and unfortunately, that's kind of the market we're in right now. We didn't go for Jesse Marsh, even though we should have. And well, he actually said earlier that about him
Yeah,
not
he
wanting to
said he
join
was
because of the
talked to.
organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he may have not joined at all. And if Jesse Marsh isn't joining, when come on, like you think like that bodes well for the other managers that we're interested in. I don't want to be like that downer guy, but it's kind of has to be like what we can work with. And if it's Wilfred Nancy or if it's Renaud or Renaud, how would you say his name?
Renaud.
Then I think what how
I don't even know. I'm trying to say with a French accent. Renaud.
uh,
Rev.
okay,
Renaud,
that may
I
be a little
think.
well. Nonetheless, if it's him or Wilfred Nancy, I think that would be kind of as of right now, unless I'm forgetting someone. As of right now, that maybe those are our most two realistic options to pick. And let's be honest. I think that those could be good options that if not reach the success that we're hoping for, do a lot better than what we're at. And I feel like
Yeah,
that's doable.
yeah. No, it's very
Yeah.
true, and I think you're totally right in that state. But I will say I think that the USA job is a little bit better than what you're putting off as. I feel like there's more factors to it in the way that I think there is a lot of pressure, yes, but at the same time, there's a lot of pressure that a good manager coming in shouldn't care about. USA pressure is not the same as European pressure, which meaning that it doesn't matter. Like a lot of these managers can come here, not succeed, and go back to Europe and be fine, to be honest, and they'll get opportunities. Less pressure here in general in comparison to European pressure, because European pressure matters to Europe. American pressure does not matter to Europe, as well as you don't have to qualify for this next World Cup. You are guaranteed a top seed in the group stages, guaranteed a top spot, which meaning you won't have to compete with other top seeds in the group stage, and that means that it's easier. You should be able to get out of that then because of that. So I don't think there's a whole lot of downsides to coming to the USA, and also because you're going to the USA. Obviously, there's more to it than just the USA, but it's you could be going to a lot worse nations around the world than the USA. I think it's very appealing, in my opinion, to a lot of people, and but at the same
Mm.
time, I do think as well, a top manager a top manager could come here, but I think a lot of lesser managers should want to come here and make their name for it. And but also then that just puts everything at odds. You can bring a bigger manager in, but I feel as though there is a lot of potential here with the USA, but at the same time, you know, I guess maybe it's not as appealing. I think it's more appealing than you're putting out to be. But at the same time, I understand why a lot of these big managers, are not making their way here.
I get your point, but the way I see it is that there's not a lot of payoff here. Like
Hmm.
what's the best outcome? They get to what, around a 16, maybe a quarterfinal in the World Cup, like maybe if we get lucky. You know, it's great. We're all happy. We continue with it, and then it's the next what 2 years is just playing your competition, nothing crazy. You're playing tournaments. You're expected to beat Mexico and you're expected to beat Canada. Um, I don't know. I don't see the appeal beyond this World Cup, and so like, and honestly, that probably goes for like I guess a lot of
Yeah,
like I guess you want
countries.
to say North American teams, but
Yeah,
like when I don't want to take away from the fact that you're right. It's not like I'm not trying to make it seem like the worst position ever. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on, um, but for like if just thinking of like a top manager, there's not a lot of payoff if you really think about it, like succeeding. Because you're not going to win the World Cup or really challenge to win the World Cup. Like let's be real, and then you're not going to be playing the Euros, which is a
right.
very prestigious tournament. You're not going to be playing there, so like like I don't know. I don't see like a lot of like things to look forward to besides kind of like just making sure that you cement yourself as the best in North America, which the U.S. are kind of already there.
Yeah, but I feel
Um,
I feel like that could also be in favor of the position. I mean, like, let's say, let's say you're Pochettino, right? And you
okay,
have the opportunity to come to the USA. You don't have to stay longer. Sign a 2-year contract. All the USA wants you for is for the World Cup. You come here, and if you're the right manager, maybe you do turn the USA into not a contender, but up there. Up there for
yeah.
sure. At least because it is a host. You're hosting it here. You have to be one of the names up there, and you get the right manager here. You turn him into a powerhouse, or at least close to, and have the opportunity to build something in the next 2 years. However, the World Cup goes, you're done. That's it. Then you move on. Then that's where I see the opportunity for a Dolo, for a Wilfred Nancy, or a
Mm.
Greg Vanny, or someone else of that American stature, something to take on the next World Cup
So
cycle.
you don't see them going on past the World Cup.
I don't think they should. I mean, I
I
agree with you
agree.
in the
I
way
agree.
that
I
there
just
is
I didn't
no, yeah.
realize.
I
Yeah,
agree with you in the way that there's not much to look forward to after, other than maybe the Copa America, maybe. If
sure.
that, obviously, we don't know how that's going to happen because of how this last one went. But
Right.
let's say you do really good in the World Cup, then you stay and sign a new contract. But you're more than welcome to come cement yourself as a USMNT legend if you can, depending on who you are. Do good in that World Cup, make a good showing for yourself, make a good showing, showing that the USA is in a better spot than it was 2 years prior into this moment right now, and then you leave. Yeah. So I would say, like,
Hmm.
yes, there is not much appeal afterwards, but that's fine. That's perfect. That's what brings in good managers too, because they can come in and, change the culture, which I feel like you have to in the way that Jesse Marsh is doing with Canada, and then you're
Yeah.
done, and then you're good, and then the USA is better off overall afterwards, and then somebody else can take on the you know pressure and whatnot that you had instead of you having to do it, and someone else can deal with the Gold Cup, the Nations League, and all that, which should be an easier job for
Hmm.
them if they pick the right person here, and which I don't think Patrick Vieira is. I don't think Patrick Vieira is that manager
Yeah,
to do it.
I agree. I think ultimately, whether we how we agree about the enticing the interest
Yeah,
of the position, I think Patrick Vieira we can both agree is not the person. No
no,
matter whether it's a position that would draw in more candidates or not, I don't think Patty V would
yeah,
be the guy you should go with. No matter, I just
yeah,
I don't see a good outcome here. I see him doing okay, and the thing is, we're at okay, maybe a little bit below okay, but like that's it,
mm,
So
mm,
like I if we really want to improve, we need more than that. Um,
yeah,
otherwise, we're just going to be a stagnant football team that
yeah,
maybe gets bailed out by the individual quality of its players in certain matches, but otherwise, I don't see us playing a great brand of football. And
yeah,
again, Vieira obviously like you gave him some he has some qualities to him, and for sure, I think probably that could be useful to the team, but I think we can get that and more with someone else.
yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I have hope for Patrick Vieira in some capacity. I don't think I'm not going to put my vote in for him, but if he is announced tomorrow as the USA manager, of course I'm going to 100% back him because Patrick Vieira is still a relatively young manager. He still has a lot more to give to the footballing world in the managerial sense, and he has yet to try his hand at international management, I believe. So it could be a match made in heaven. It's just everything's alluding to it not being. He could have
Hmm.
a chance to do something great and then move on to become this good international manager. I just don't see it right now. He has experience with some players, like, or I guess just one player, but Chris Richards, which is really good.
Mm.
I do like that a lot. I just don't think that Vieira, in this moment, has the tactical prowess and abilities to alter certain games and the squad to what we need to happen. And at the same time, obviously, there's not much to deal with in terms of quality here in CONCACAF, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But that also scares me too because as Patrick Vieira, I don't. He has European, experience, which is great, and what's what USSF is looking for. But I don't know if he can go 2 years without dealing with a whole lot of European people, other than maybe four, maybe six friendlies before the World
Hmm.
Cup, and then going into the World Cup and having to be able to dismantle a lot of these big teams. I just don't see it happening. There are some managers that can come here and you say, yeah, I have faith that they can beat the top teams around the world because they're such good managers, but he's just not one of them. He's just not one of
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
it's very hard for me to assume that we're going to get somebody like that besides Hervenard. I do think Hervenard could do something like that.
Hmm.
I just don't. Patty V is not the guy.
No, I think the best way I can put it is like I think if he played Canada, let's say in the Gold Cup,
Yeah,
in the final for some reason, and
yeah,
even though Canada have an inferior squad quality wise, I think Jesse March would outcoach him, and
yeah,
um, I think that would be like kind of the nail in the coffin. And unfortunately, I think that would that would have happened with Berhalter if we had seen him play Canada. That would have happened. That will happen with Patty V, I believe. And I think we need someone who can match at least match Jesse Marsh because I feel like he's like the
yeah,
measuring stick here because like he
yeah,
was such a good option. I was rooting for him for the U.S. and then when the U.S. passed on him, I was rooting for him for Canada because I just think he's exciting. He's new. He's still learning as a manager, which I think yes has its flaws, but I think it's also still like more of like oh that's good because he can still keep improving.
yeah.
And I think just he like if we can find someone that gets to that level that can add that like managerial prowess to the team, I think would be the goal here. So we'll see who we get, but I don't know right now. Right now, I'm not looking too hot.
I would never have thought that Canada would be the matching stick. Like Canada would be the team with the manager that we have to compare ourselves to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you go back what maybe 2 months. And any video we talk about Canada, we say they're nothing. Like there's not
They're
much
not
there
great.
to go
Yeah.
off of. And I really like Canada, and I really think they have a big potential. And Jesse Marsh is perfect for Canada, and I think he would have been perfect for the USA if Matt Crocker didn't elect to rehire Greg Berhalter. Jesse Marsh probably
Hmm.
would have gotten that spot, and he would have been amazing, absolutely
Hmm.
amazing. The difference between Jesse Marsh and Patty V is Jesse Marsh has pedigree. He has this Copa America under his belt now, a semifinals appearance with Canada in Copa America. He has his some good moments for Leeds, wasn't the greatest, and that's fine. But he has really good RB Leipzig moments. He has really good Salzburg moments. Patty V does not necessarily have these good moments with any team that he's been with so far that are equal to or better in terms of quality that Jesse Marsh had, and that's what bothers me with Patty V. You have to have somebody with not only experience but good experience and good times in Europe. They want someone with proven European experience. Patty V has experience. It's not good experience. There's a difference. There's a difference. He will bring a lot, yes, but just because you know how it works doesn't mean you know how to beat it. He knows
Yeah.
how it works. He doesn't know how to beat it. There's a difference. Jesse Marshall in general knows how it works and he knows how to beat it.
Mhm.
Patrick Vieira is not the guy. By any means, is not the guy. Again, I will support him. I will back him, whatever, but he's not the guy that I would like to pick here. And because this is a big decision, this is a big
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
This impacts USA soccer for years to come, not just these next 2 years. Like I said, you bring the right person in and they change the culture and the look of them forever. And then you have somebody else fuck it up, or you bring in the wrong person, you mess it up now, and you're back to square one again. And then it's a waste of the last 4 years, two, 3, 4 years. Yeah. So high stakes. Patrick Vieira is not the person to deal with those stakes, and I hope he proves me wrong if he gets hired. Better than Dolo, and Dolo was the leading candidate apparently as of a few days ago. So
Ugh.
we'll take. I know. So we'll take that at least, but it's not what I would have liked.
We're
I
really
think
in the
it's not a
trenches
lot
right
what the
now.
population likes. Trenches for real. You have a lot on the line here. Canada has their manager. Mexico has their new manager for for the next 2 years. The fact that we're the ones without one is a good and bad thing. It's a good in the way because we're taking our time, but it's a bad thing if we take our time and it's not the right option, which
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
looks like it's going to be, to be honest, as of right now.
Yeah.
But I think we'll end that one there. We're already about 22 minutes or so. So if you're at this point of the video, we'd appreciate it if you give us a like. It helps us out a lot more than you realize. If you have any opinions that you want us to hear, let us know down in the comments below because we read every single comment that we get on these videos. So leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you want more USA content moving forward because we're gonna have a lot of these next 2 years. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys in the future videos. Hopefully we'll see you guys in a video of us talking about somebody else other than Patrick Vieira being this manager. But we'll see. Take care, guys.